Gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome inside Humphrey Coliseum. Late night on a Wednesday night. Big Blue Nation is in town. The Kentucky Wildcats getting set to battle the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi tells us the story we need to talk about tonight. And right now, Mississippi State, having won 5 straight, has surged to the right side of the bubble. Meanwhile, Kentucky's lost 2 in a row. Work to be done, and there are quad 1 opportunities coming up, including tonight. And Mark, we start with the big fellas. That is the matchup to watch.
Oscar Tshiebwe is doing Oscar things again this season, averaging a double-double, and he's coming off that 20 and 14 performance at Georgia. He really understands angles and post position down in that low block area. But did you know that Oscar leads this conference in offensive rebounds with almost 6 a game? Tolu Smith for Mississippi State has 7 double-doubles on the year. He's got 6 games of 20 or more points. He leads this team in scoring. But did you know that Tolu Smith is 2nd in the league in offensive rebounds, averaging almost 4 a game? Easy points, Roy, like second chance points, will be vital tonight, and that starts with Tshiebwe and Smith.
Guys, we're talking about it in the studio. Whiteout conditions inside the hump tonight. It has been rocking. The T-shirts have been passed out everywhere. Coach Cal's used to this. He knows his team has to finish strong. And we will see if they can do that starting tonight. The quad 1 chances, 5 of the final 6 games for the Cats present that exact opportunity. Translation, a chance to build a resume before Selection Sunday. Bulldogs in the home whites, Kentucky in the road blues underway in the opening tap, controlled by the Cats. Case and Wallace, a talented freshman. The Bulldogs open up in man-to-man. It's been already an entertaining evening of SEC hoops. Wallace was blocked inside. Tolu Smith with a help side D.
Right away, we see the switching man-to-man defense of Mississippi State. Extremely good on that side of the ball. KenPom has them at number 4 in defensive efficiency.
Wallace with a path and the handoff. The layup is good. And the Cats on the board first. You take a look at the starting 5 for the Bulldogs. Same starting 5 we've seen the last 6 games. MSU 5-1 in those matchups. And Shaquille Moore inserted into that starting lineup really has been a difference maker. The scoring is up. The 3-point shooting's been better. And that has changed things up in this 5-game run. Davis turns it over. Here comes Wallace. Starting 5 for the Cats. 10 different starting lineups this season. Saw the same 5 against Georgia. Only time we've seen that 5. Consequently coming in at 0-1. Reeves launching. Off the mark. Tshiebwe on the offensive glass. Travel.
Right away, we're going to see both of the big men draw a lot of attention. Both offenses like to run through their big man. Tolu Smith for Mississippi State, Oscar Tshiebwe for Kentucky.
Early basket for Jacob Toppin. That's been it so far. Bulldogs back to work. We don't think this is going to be a higher scoring game in league play this year, right?
No, not at all. Both teams a little deliberate in how they attack. That is a really good sign if you're a Mississippi State fan.
28% from deep for DJ Jeffries. Makes his first attempt tonight.
Only had 4 in that road win at Arkansas, but he was coming off a game where he had 18 against LSU and made 5 3-balls.
Wallace for 3. Cleared by Tolu Smith. Ahead to Davis. Quick trigger. And ripped away by Livingston.
Roy, it is going to be big man hoops on every rebound.
Tshiebwe, no. Matthews, yes. And the dish. More the finish inside. Mark, you and I have been here number of games this year, number of games last season.
Right.
I don't know if I've heard it this loud to start in any of those games. Tshiebwe will quiet the crowd for a moment.
How about that for a little creativity? Why is it all big guys want to be guards?
It's fun to get out there and dribble and penetrate.
Now where Mississippi State will switch all over, Kentucky will not do that.
Davis goes past Toppin, lost the handle. Toppin clears it.
That's 2 early turnovers already by Mississippi State.
Left-handed shot, little jump hook by Toppin, no.
Roy, don't you feel like both teams are kind of feeling each other out?
Definitely has that sense to it. Moore, back iron. Tracked down by Matthews and a fresh 20.
Somebody better put a body on Matthews this entire game.
Boy, his activity stood out first 4 minutes tonight. And a turnover. Smith's path was deflected. And Livingston contact and a blocking foul.
Got fortunate there. I'd rather for him give the ball up and get it back in transition. But Livingston is known as a north-south driver. Take another look in transition. Shaquille Moore, well, he looks pretty set to me, doesn't he? Feet facing the offensive player, legal guarding position.
First foul of the game for either side. Tshiebwe from 16. That shot is in the repertoire. We've seen it this season.
Yeah, that's a shot he's made all season long. Very confident in that 15, 16-foot area.
Cats back in front, 6-5, just underway in Starkville. Bulldogs have won 5 straight. Coach Cal has dominated Mississippi State since his arrival into the SEC. Even has a dub during his time at Memphis. Only loss was in overtime in the SEC tournament. Wallace rips it away with a steal.
Kentucky's defense really good collapsing inside.
That's a 3 from the corner, and Reeves connects.
That's one of the things Chris Jans talked to us about today. Transition defense. Hard to get your transition defense set when you're turning the ball over.
How good has Antonio Reeves been from the three-point arc and just in general?
One of those super playing up transfers in this conference.
Jeffrey Short, Cats in the midst of a 7-0 run. In transition, Reeves thought about it. Toppin retrieves it.
If you're Cal, this is the start you wanted, isn't it, on the road?
Coach Cal wants to know what just occurred, and the Cats lead it by 4. Score 5 minutes in here at the Hump in Starkville, Mississippi, as Kentucky has roared out in front. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. All right, fun start. Mississippi State, a couple of turnovers in these first possessions. From your vantage point, what's important right now for both sides?
How about let's do a little math tonight?
Okay.
I promise it won't be real complicated. I want to look at 2 areas. Points off turnovers and second chance points. Points are going to be hard to come by in this game. So easy points are almost paramount for both teams. So I want to look at those 2 areas. If one of those teams or one of these teams tonight can win, when you combine the second chance points and the points off turnovers, I think they'll win on the big board.
I don't want a ton of math tonight. Let's keep it simple for our viewers and for your play-by-play announcer.
Well, with that being said, Mississippi State, they've got to cut down on their turnovers, especially here in the early going.
8 possessions, 4 miscues. That has prompted this 7-0 run. This outburst by the Cats. Bulldogs have it out of the break after the turnover by Toppin. And Jacob Toppin not on the floor after going down awkwardly. He's working on that right shoe on the Kentucky bench.
Just another injury that Kentucky has had to deal with this year.
I mean, it's been chaotic, and it's not only chaotic, as you pointed out, during games. Moore left wide open. It's a 1-point game.
Yeah, his hot shooting has continued.
It's chaotic with practice, right?
Yes.
When guys can't participate and give you full go.
This team never got on the rails from the beginning because Oscar Tshiebwe was out a month just before the season started. If you don't understand how disruptive that is in terms of getting better in practice, because college teams get better in practice.
Tshiebwe, another mid-range jumper. Chris Jans was giving us the exact percentages of Tshiebwe in that range, and they're pretty good this year. Talked about the injuries, including tonight, no C.J. Frederick, no Xavier Wheeler. Wheeler with the right ankle, and Frederick with the rib injury. They're both out again, so that's an issue. Reed for three, back iron, no. Tracked down by Reeves.
Mismatch that they want to utilize. McNair is tied up on Reeves right now.
Tshiebwe defended by Matthews. Reeves, the floater, silky smooth.
You could see that coming, the mismatch.
Reeves has 5. The lead is 5 for Kentucky. Ten to shoot. Reed again, corner triple. Yes! Splashes that one home.
Yeah, he made a 3 in the road game against Arkansas. That was his first points in 5 games.
There's a steal by Moore. Shaquille Moore for the lead. And Livingston had the board and was grabbed by Reed from behind.
Let's go back a possession or two to take a look at the Here we go. Take another look. The ball fake, the kick out to Reed, the corner 3. Just 25% on the year from bonus land. He struggled, but he shot the first 2 with a lot of confidence.
We watched him today at shoot-around. Didn't make a lot of threes, just warming up and kind of throwing stuff up there. Before the game, we watched him closer. Everything went down. Reeves, everything's gone down for him, it seems like, all season long. Another triple.
You cannot allow Reeves that easy of a look. Good ball reversal by Kentucky. Reeves knocks down another 3. Chris Jans not very pleased with his team's defensive effort.
5.5 to go, guys.
Dari, thank you very much. Here in Starkville, 5-point lead for the Cats. Made each of their last 5 field goal attempts. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. Does that surprise you, considering Tennessee is shorthanded right now?
Maybe a little bit, but you're at home. Guess what? If Tennessee wins this game, guess what we're going to read tomorrow? How Alabama couldn't handle being ranked #1.
I'm not buying that.
Yes, that's what we're going to read about, okay? I'm just telling you, we put way too much emphasis on one outcome.
I was driving through Birmingham earlier today, and there was conversations, local sports talk, discussing Bama. The last time they were #1, it was 20 years ago, and they lost a couple of games in a row right after that. It's a different deal this go around. Bulldogs have it, trailing by 5 at home. Good start for the road team. Trying to figure things out.
Both teams are being efficient at the arc, and that surprises me.
Sean Jones on the floor for the first time, 30 in white, as is Tyler Stevenson. First and only meeting between these two this year. Bulldogs took Kentucky to overtime last year at Rupp. Stevenson, boy, that was contested and awfully tough. Never touched the rim, and that's a violation.
Kentucky really good at shrinking the floor defensively. All 5 guys, I think, at one point in time had feet in the paint defensively.
We talked extensively with Chris Jans today, and now this veteran officiating crew will look at that last sequence. Pat Adams, Jason Baker, Ron Groover tonight.
I thought this shot was off left. I didn't even think it was close to the rim. Yeah. It's a shot clock violation. Good challenge there by Ware. Sometimes it's good if you have offensive shot clock awareness late in a possession. It's also important to have defensive shot clock awareness late in a possession. That time, nice job by Ware.
I was going to say, we talked to Chris Jans, and in those conversations, we asked him, hey, do you pay attention to the net rankings? It was a violation, right?
Yeah, but this is one of those unusual situations because the ball got hit all the way back into the backcourt.
Right.
So Kentucky will get possession
there,
but with only 20 on the shot clock.
Interesting, because the ball floated across the half-court line.
Yes. So they're ruling there was still some time left.
Interesting. Wallace has it, 20 on the shot clock. But we mentioned to Chris Jans, hey, you're back on the right side of the bubble right now. Does that sound right, feel right? Do you pay attention to it? He didn't want to hear anything else, nothing further. He didn't want to hear about projections.
He stopped you in mid-track.
He really did. Shot clock at 2, Toppin the floater. Tshiebwe, and that's a shot clock violation. Toppin never grazed the rim. He said he does pay attention to the net rankings.
Yes.
He does pay attention to who they've beaten and what they need to do to continue to help MSU's overall resume, but he's not reading the projections on where they are and where they could be with a win or loss tonight or in the future.
But he's very much aware of where Utah is in the net.
Right.
And where Akron is in the net.
Because if they win, then those victories become quad 1 and or quad 2. That helps the old resume.
Especially Utah, because they're at 51 today, and Mississippi State has a neutral court win. They just need one more spot, and that win moves to a quad 1.
Stevenson open. Ware claims the board. Tshiebwe again. Off the mark this time, and Ware. There's a foul called. Jones and Ware were tangled up.
Yeah, this is a mismatch inside. Jones for Mississippi State, the young freshman, 6'5". Meanwhile, Ware at 6'9". I was really interested. We're going to watch Kentucky and Coach Cal manage his minutes tonight. Reeves going out. Remember, Reeves played all 40 minutes in the game against Georgia.
And really the starting 5 carried the bulk of that weight, right?
Yes. I mean, Oscar played 35, Toppin 37, Livingston 36, Reeves all 40.
Thiero checks in for the first time, 3 in blue. Wallace the fadeaway, and he got it to go. 18-11, Kentucky with its largest lead.
Had an interesting chat with Wallace today, and I asked him what he had learned about himself as a freshman. He said, I need to stay aggressive. That was an aggressive play.
More left open, no. Matthews, hand off to Tolu.
Cam Matthews is just such a great offensive rebounder, so strong. It seems like when he gets his paws on the ball, it's over. Well, how about this, a little 2-3 zone.
Halfway through the first, Toppin the turnaround, yes.
2 soft spots of a 2-3. One is the free throw line area. The other is the short corner. That time Toppin worked the free throw line area.
Spin by Smith. Thiero wanted the hook. Instead, it's a foul on Oscar.
2-3 zone, soft spot, that free throw line area. Nice pass by Ware to hit Toppin at the right time. And there's an example of that soft spot I talked about.
Like 4 total fouls called in the first almost 11 minutes tonight. And that was the first one against Kentucky. Damian Collins checks in for the first time. Underneath, Moore, and that shot was bothered. Well, he tried to sneak it up there as quickly as he could.
Yeah, I thought Thiero got fingertips on it. My first thought was it was a pretty good block on the way up.
Collins a big step, then a jump stop. Toppin's pass deflected and stolen by Davis. And a foul called against Collins.
Take another look after the shuffle cut by Shaquille Moore. He's trying to go for the quick deuce. Thiero, yeah, I thought he got it before it went to the glass. Close, though.
Shaq wanted the goaltend, won't get it. I agree with you. The lead at 7. Kentucky opens up at 56% from the floor tonight. It is interesting from the MSU perspective. This currently represents a quad 2 game because it's at home. For Kentucky, it is a quad 1 chance. Smith got it to go, looking backwards.
Nice set play by Mississippi State on that possession. Block-to-block screen. Kentucky did not react.
Smith with 4, Wallace for 3. Smith the rebound. More off the screen. Smith and Collins battling inside. Matthews the skip pass. Open look for Davis. That's a 3. One possession game.
Mississippi State shooting the ball with confidence from the arc, something they did not do earlier this season.
Bit of a burst for the Bulldogs. Shot clock at 5. Wallace has to go. Reeves is open. And the answer from deep.
Love the extra pass that time by Toppin. Wallace got his feet in the paint.
Reeves leads all scorers with 11. Couple of 3 balls already. That'll quiet this crowd for the moment. Smith double teamed and a foul called. As we step aside. Well, both teams currently on the bubble. We will turn to the expert of said bubble. Joe Lunardi, ESPN bracketologist, joins us. Coming up next, stay tuned. Markville, Kentucky leading Mississippi State by 5. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott. And as advertised previously, ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi joins us right now. Joe, we're revealing you just like you reveal each and every update this time of year. Hey, give us your take on this game and how important it is for both teams tonight.
If anything, guys, it's gotten more important as the evening has rolled along with Clemson winning big against Florida State. Clemson was team number 69 when play began today, and of course, Kentucky at number 70. So you figure the Tigers are going to move in off of a 40-point win. And if Kentucky is able to continue and win this game, the Wildcats are going to move back in. But who's going to drop? The last team in, Oregon, they don't play until 10 o'clock Eastern. Wisconsin is idle, but then another of the last 4 in is Mississippi State. Could this be a straight swap by the end of the night? We don't know yet because of those other teams still in play.
Joe, I wanted to ask you this. When it comes down at the end, whether we're talking about that very last spot, the 68th spot, and I don't care if we're talking about Kentucky versus Clemson or Oregon and Mississippi State, whoever it might be, what is the deciding Joe Lunardi factor for your in and your out?
Well, my deciding factor would no doubt be quality of wins and quality of schedule. But understand something about bracketology. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm projecting what I think those 12 people in the room are going to do, and any one of them may have a different way of looking at it. Some might be more biased toward recent play, or play away from home, or factor injuries and other absences, or just their observation of watching games. A lot of ways to skin this cat, Mark.
Foul was called on Thiero, 1 of 2 at the stripe for Moore. Cats back to work. Over on ESPN2, Joe, Alabama and Tennessee locked in another rock fight in this conference. Bama as a 1 seed, as we see a shot clock violation. How secure the Crimson Tide right now with their resume?
extremely secure. Maybe not for one overall if they were to lose this game and pick up a fourth loss. Purdue has 3, so I'd probably flip the top 2 teams, but they're not going to fall any further than second overall because the third team on the list, Houston, they won there, and that still matters, at least to me. Tennessee, on the other hand, they're the top number 3. They're going to move up with a victory and bump Arizona down.
Joe, I want to move to Arkansas. How does the committee deal with injuries, players in and out of the lineup? I could have easily asked the same thing about Kentucky, but Arkansas getting Nick Smith Jr. back, will they be evaluated differently now moving forward?
I think a player of his caliber has to be viewed with some degree of importance. Now, how will they play with him for a period of time? It hasn't always been a panacea when he's come back. You know, he's had a very uneven season, and sometimes so have the Hogs. But I look for Arkansas to play well down the stretch. They've got to win their home games, and hopefully he helps them win them fairly convincingly, in which case it's probably worth a seed line or two to see him and them functioning at a high level.
Win and you're in. That's what it's all about this time of year. Joey Brackets, we appreciate you. Thanks for the time. And we know you'll be watching the rest of this one as Toppin drains a 3 from the wing.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
You got it.
We'll call that a long 2. Joe Lunardi, he is rip-roaring ready to go. And as he says this time of year, you know, you want to stay in touch and visit your bracketologist at least once a month, but when you get closer to March, it's more like once a week. And here comes Tolu Smith and Mississippi State down by 2.
That's way too easy. Smith just operating block to block. Tshiebwe a step behind.
Meanwhile, Tennessee is pulled in front of Alabama by 8 late. Tshiebwe down low.
Yeah, when you're the weak side defender and you're Deshaun Davis at 6'2", 195, and Tshiebwe gets the ball in the painted area, there's not much you can do.
Tshiebwe with 8 points, 3 boards. Defending Tolu Smith. Davis, the runner. That was a tough shot off glass. Smith ripped away by Oscar. And Wallace has a different gear when he wants it. So does this man. Off the mark that time. Matthews comes away with it. Over to Shaq Moore. The reverse and beautifully executed.
I love that move. I love that triple jump step to the side.
And a bump and a foul call. Davis picks up the personal.
Mississippi State in transition. Cam leading the break. Even as a linebacker, a tight end, if you will, body, Cam has some guard skills. Gives it up at the right time. Watch this triple jump move. Finishes on the left side.
Shot clock down to 5. There's Reeves. Put back, Thiero, no, and a foul called. Free throws coming for the Cats. Well, John Calipari, 17-1 all-time against MSU. His motto right now, refuse to lose. On display so far. Oh, boy. Damian Fishback just trying to create problems, and I don't know.
I've got mine.
Nate Oates?
Coach of the year.
Nate Oates?
Dennis Gates.
At Mizzou.
Yes.
That's a good call on your part.
I have never seen such a dramatic turnaround schematically from one year to the next.
Roster turned over for the most part around Kobe Brown, and then you're just different in how you go about your day-to-day business.
Play fast, shoot fast. One of the things that I admire about coaches that are willing to play like that, every once in a while you're going to get smacked, like Missouri got smacked last night at Auburn. Most coaches don't like that.
That man certainly wouldn't like it. And we mentioned going out to break, refuse to lose. He must have yelled that 5 or 6 times in a row at the end of shoot-around earlier this morning here at the Hump. 2 free throws for Thiero. And a couple of quality minutes off the bench for number 3 in blue after not seeing a ton of PT before the loss at Georgia. But he said refuse to lose. If you have to dive on the floor to get a loose ball, the time is now to do that. We have to start another streak, and it starts tonight. Coach Cal talking to his team this morning.
Kentucky back down the floor again. I think they'll look opportunistically. If they have a chance to trap, they may go a little run and jump. Here it comes.
I know you had catchphrases like that, a little alliteration of some sort back in the day at Purdue when you guys went to the Final Four.
We'll screen the screener for Jeffries.
That works. Jeffries off the mark that time. McNair touched it last.
Well, I think Kentucky caught a break there. Tshiebwe over the back of McNair. McNair really had inside position.
I'm going with Nate Oates, by the way, Fish, as my coach of the year right now in the league. #1 team in the country, first time in 20 years. But on the verge of being dealt their first league loss tonight at Tennessee. Wallace, no. He'll track down his own rebound. He'll keep it alive at least. And Tshiebwe corrals it. Shot clock down to 2. Tshiebwe on the offensive glass. And he was clipped. Sandwiched in between Matthews and McNair.
In the open, we talked about Tshiebwe being the leading offensive rebounder in this conference. He has a knack for understanding where the ball might come after a miss. This time he's in the painted area. Late clock situation that Wallace misses. Tshiebwe again in the right place at the right time.
Foul was called on Matthews. Lead is 4. Tshiebwe on the offensive glass. You hit it in the open. We know he's a beast, but really the offensive boards even more so. Put back Thiero, quality minutes and production off the bench.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Cal talked to us about Thiero. Likes his aggressive play, knows that he's going to give him everything he's got. You want to play more minutes? Go to the offensive glass.
Did it that time. Davis off the screen, probing, and he was fouled. Shoved on the release. Reeves didn't like it, and he is the guilty party that time.
Such a smart play by Davis to keep Reeves on his side behind him. Had the correct angle to draw the foul.
Davis at the line, 76% this season. 2.5 to go. It's been an active first half. I want to know who Damian Fishback's coach of the year is in the SEC. Don't forget our Thursday night women's basketball doubleheader starts in Fayetteville. Arkansas hosting the Lady Vols. That's up first at 7 Eastern. Ole Miss and LSU. How about Angel Baker, Angel Reese, the battle from above. 5th-ranked Bayou Bengals. That'll tip off at 9 Eastern. Down at the P-back. Right here on the SEC Network, also on the ESPN app.
Quick question. Could Ole Miss be catching LSU at the right time?
Coach Yo answers and says yes. Roy Philpott answers and says, I'm not so sure. South Carolina looked really good, as expected on Sunday. Still undefeated. What a great job Dawn Staley has done in Columbia SC. 4-point game here in Starkville. Livingston thought about it. There's a steal. Here comes Matthews.
Not a very good pass by Livingston at all. This is how Mississippi State loves to score. Let your defense help your offense. Livingston threw the ball where Toppin was and not where he was going. Poor pass. Matthews knows what to do with it. Out in front. Mississippi State leads this conference with almost 9 steals a game.
One of the top defensive teams in America. Kim Palm will tell you that. A lot of stats in the SEC will tell you that. Toppin the fadeaway. And from 15, numeral 0 connects. He's got 8.
How about the assist by Oscar?
You like it when the big fella drops a couple of dimes.
I do like that a lot.
Thiero at the top. That pressure for Kentucky. Under 90 seconds here in our first.
Yeah, the double came from the top that time.
Couple of nasty crossovers from Deshaun Davis. Jeffries has to go. Smith, the tip in. And a chance for three.
Turnabout fair play. Late in the possession, Matthews just gets a shot on goal. And there is Tolu Smith doing what he does. The two best offensive rebounders in this conference going head to head.
Second personal on Oscar. Smith, coach already in double figures. Tshiebwe has 8, Tolu with 10, a chance for 11 here. And Tolu has not missed a shot tonight, including at the stripe.
That's news there.
The hump comes alive. Under a minute to go. Wallace. Tapped out. Back to the Bulldogs.
This is in that do you go 2 for 1 zone or not?
You know our stance on that.
Yes.
Absolutely you do.
Every chance you get.
Do you have to get a shot up in about 10 seconds? Is that the threshold?
Okay, yes. Got to be thinking fast here.
Well, Jeffries thought about it.
They ran the play for it.
More launching. 3-second differential between the clocks, or a shade under 3 seconds. Entertaining first half, nearly complete. Two teams on the bubble. Two teams that want this one desperately, and a timeout called by Cal. Now, don't forget, coming up Friday, our gymnastics doubleheader starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Number 9 Alabama squares off against top 20 Georgia. The Gym Dogs back in action. And then Arkansas and Kentucky. All 4 teams ranked in the top 20. First at 7, second at 8:30. Friday Night Heights returns right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. What's Coach Cal telling his team right here?
I think it's a 2 option. I think they want to get Wallace going downhill and Reeves in some form of a 3-point threat. So I would look for a high ball screen as soon as possible for Reeves. Let him get feet in the paint. Mississippi State, they're going to try and do their drop coverage. They'll give up 2 here in the mid-range especially. You do not want to give up 3.
I think I heard that same statement the Tennessee-Vanderbilt game last week.
Yes. How about those 2 back-to-back finishes?
And the Vols apparently going to right the ship tonight with a win against number 1. Out of the timeout, shot clock at 10.
Okay, here's Wallace coming downhill. Ware didn't get out of the way.
Toppin for 3.
Doesn't matter.
That's one way to execute. And a timeout called by Chris Jans in Mississippi State.
Cal's a little frustrated by Wallace in terms of his effort to get open on the side out. Toppin saved the day, not only with that 3-point make, but as an outlet on the side out to begin that possession. Toppin on the year entering the game just 25%. But I think there have been times this season where Toppin has given up, or passed up, I should say, some good wide open threes.
.3 to go in the first.
All right, you get 3 dribbles here. See if you can get Davis or Moore going up the floor quickly.
Jeffries gets it into Matthews off the fake. Matthews for 3. Banks it in! And John Calipari slammed his hand down on the scorer's table right as that one grazed through the net.
Mississippi State tried to run the Valpo play with streakers down the sideline. It wasn't there. Matthews knocks down the 3-ball, just his 5th of the year.
Final 20 minutes coming up here in Starkville. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott on site. Big Blue Nation a 1-point lead. Second half coming up, and 3-point shooting really the story early tonight, Coach.
On average, these two teams combined in league play to make 11 threes a game. Well, they've already made 9 tonight. The impressive thing by Mississippi State, they've made 5 from 5 different players. For Kentucky, Antonio Reeves, again, the sharpshooter from distance, and then this three-pointer to end the first half. Cam Matthews, an unlikely three-point maker.
Matthews, the bucket. He had 5 in the first. Tolu Smith was perfect from the field. Oscar Tshiebwe, the 8 points, 2 fouls, something to watch. And you see the advantage on the glass for Kentucky so far.
I really want to pay attention to how Kentucky substitutes in the second half. Only Wallace played long minutes, more than 19 in the first half, but they got Tshiebwe a breather, they got Reeves a little breather, Toppin only 16 minutes. These are guys who logged long minutes. Let's see if Kentucky can have something in the tank down the stretch tonight.
A big game with 2 teams on the bubble as it stands currently. Mississippi State, according to Joe Lunardi, on the right side of the bubble. Kentucky just on the outside looking in. But again, we mentioned the opportunity at hand tonight, at least for the Cats, a quad 1 dub at stake.
Mississippi State, with first possession, has a chance to link a 5 or 6 point play.
Davis to Shackmore. Will feed the big fella, now back outside. In and out for Jeffries. Tshiebwe clears.
Livingston got wrong-footed defensively. There's a pretty good look.
Now the law of averages tells you that at least Mississippi State probably won't be as successful from deep in the second half. For Kentucky, we'll see. But you wonder if the 3-point shooting can be fool's gold at times. Tshiebwe lost the handle. Right, I mean, as a coach, you think about that. For a team that gets hot early, you got to be careful to not fall in love with that jumper from deep, right?
Yeah, but again, you always, and I love what Chris Jans told us when I asked him about, did you see Shaquille Moore's 3-point shooting, his prowess in the last 5 games? Did you see that coming? He said, hey, I've been encouraging him to shoot all along. As a matter of fact, he told him, hey, look, you're playing for a head coach that's begging you to shoot more.
Moore in the last 5 has been sensational. 10 of 19 from deep, and you see the production has exploded as Jeffries starts the half 0 for 2.
Now, next possession, Mississippi State needs a Tolu touch.
How about a touch for Wallace on the other side? In and out. Bulldogs in search of their first lead since it was 5-4.
Wallace now 0 of 5 tonight from deep.
Matthews the crossover. Smith got the touch that you wanted. Couple of big man moves. Up and in. Bulldogs back in front.
That's just good awareness by Mississippi State. Your first 2 possessions, you took 3s. Tolu needed a touch. Feed the big fella.
Tshiebwe banks it in. Boy, something magical on this end of the floor with the bank shot.
Yeah, but Matthews was for a 3. Not a fair trade, says Kentucky.
Oscar with 10 and 6 so far. Davis working against Antonio Reeves.
That's a much better job of jamming that block-to-block screen by Kentucky.
Foul was called, an easy whistle. Livingston with a personal.
Let's go back offensively speaking. Matthews finds Smith. Look where his feet are, though. He's so far into the scoring zone for a big man. One fake ball, two ball fakes, and the finish.
That looked like 7 ball fakes. Tolu Smith loved it. Bulldogs have it trailing by 1. Tolu with 13 tonight, still perfect from the floor. A great matchup here, worth the price of admission with the bigs. And Matthews with an arm waving. It'll go back to Kentucky.
Wallace to the Kentucky bench early. We talked about his long minutes. He's the only Wildcat who really played extraordinarily long minutes.
Full court pressure. Toppin beats it.
What a tough catch by Livingston.
Happened right in front of us. You appreciate it more in person, 10 feet away. Tshiebwe feeling it for a moment. The skip pass is intercepted. Like a cornerback, here comes Moore. With the jam! Holy cow! 3-on-3 crime that time. Shaq Moore rising.
My goodness. All started with the turnover.
Reeves. Jeffries clears ahead to Davis. And a chance for 3 more.
All of a sudden, Mississippi State opportunistic in transition. First after the turnover, the steal, the quick outlet, and watch this explosion. My goodness. Then in transition, Kentucky a little tardy, rotating back defensively, and Davis with the and one opportunity.
9 Kentucky turnovers resulting in 14 Bulldog points so far. Foul was called on Livingston. That's his second. And Pat Adams going to inform us of what exactly is taking place right here.
Toppin with a little blood on his elbow, so they're getting that cleaned up.
Well, for a minute, it looked like somebody was getting ready to shoot a free throw.
Yeah, I thought there'd been a technical that we had missed.
Now put that Shaq Moore dunk right out there with anything else you can find in the Twitterverse tonight.
Might be on our awards show later in the year.
Dunk of the year? In the conversation.
By the way, is there a better dunker in the league than Cario Oquendo?
At Georgia?
Yes.
In and out for Davis.
He's got a plethora of dunks that we're going to have to look at.
Mike White agrees with you at least. Bulldogs lead it by 3. Feels like a brand new and maybe a different game to start our second half. Extending their defense more nearly with a steal. Livingston tried to break down the basket, nearly did it, and he was hammered.
I talked about Livingston as a north-south driver. After the near miss by Shaquille Moore, straight down Main Street. As a big, though, if you're Chris Jans, that's where you want your big to take your fouls.
That looked like a foul from our vantage point.
Gosh, yes.
Crowd didn't appreciate it. Livingston gets one more. It's the first personal on Tolu Smith. College basketball doubleheader coming up next Wednesday night right here on SEC Network. Vanderbilt LSU from Baton Rouge at 7. Ole Miss and Auburn at 9. The Tigers, that blowout win last night against Mizzou, rolling once again under head coach Bruce Pearl. Also available on the ESPN app.
Livingston has had a wonderful season at the free throw line, 86%.
One-point game. Exciting start here in the second half. Bulldogs, by the way, haven't beaten Kentucky in this arena since 2008. It's been a while.
That time Livingston was spot on with his timing on when to double.
Wallace back on the floor and was fouled. Matthews will help him up. That'll be the second on 4 in white. 1 point lead, a hostile environment. Big plays on both sides. Come back with us. Don't forget about the next Southern Hoops, a history of SEC basketball. Part 4 headed your way next of the 7-part documentary. Takes a look at 1980 through 1989. How about Dominique Wilkins? Sir Charles Barkley will headline the conference's rise. Dale Brown's success at LSU continues, as does Pat Summitt's in Knoxville with 2 more national championships. It's been amazing so far. This one is also going to be incredible as well. Monday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. And don't forget, a new episode premieres every Monday through March 13th. Let's go. Mark Weisroy, Philpott, here in Starkville. The score tells the story. If you ain't a dog, well, you're a cat. At least tonight. It's a whiteout, great atmosphere, and a really good basketball game.
We talked about points off turnovers and what a vital role that might play in this game. Mississippi State, Roy, has won that points off turnovers battle 10 of the 12 SEC games, and right now they're +9 in that category. I think that's the reason why they're ahead by 1.
Kentucky led by 1 at half. Important to note, this team hasn't lost a game this year with the halftime advantage. 12-0 before tonight. We will see if that holds. Reeves will trigger, and he gets it to top, and here comes Big Blue. Wallace to Livingston. Reeves is wide open. Can't allow that to happen. He's going to make you pay time after time. Antonio Reeves with 14. 43-41, 5 minutes into the second.
Boy, Mississippi State's had a lot of success with that block-to-block screen, trying to free up Tolu Smith again.
For the handoff to Davis. Moore's been active, 5 to shoot. Against the taller Wallace. And that should be a shot clock violation. Never grazed the rim, and it is.
Roy, this last possession, watch Chris Livingston, watch his eyes, watch him read the double. The double's gonna come, and when he does, he looks cross court. The pass is spot on, and Reeves, the sharpshooter, with the seams, knocks down the 3-ball.
4 or 5 from deep is Antonio Reeves. Livingston, smash mouth hoops inside.
They can post him up. They might be onto something here with a set.
7-0 run for the Cats. Moore to Smith off the bounce against Tshiebwe, was bumped. And if that's Oscar, that's number 3. Let's see. It is.
Oscar bit on that ball fake for just a count. There's no reason to bite. Tolu Smith is not a mid-range shooter. And that foul will put Oscar to the bench. What, just a little bit of seam raise up there? Defense, you must play with your knees bent. When his knees got locked, he was beat on the play.
Now remember this moment with 14:25 to go. Tshiebwe exits. Lance Ware comes in. Bulldogs without a point in the last 2+. Davis will try to change that here off the pump fake, and he cannot. Ware clears. And Kentucky all of a sudden with a different rhythm on offense.
Let's see if they go back and post up Livingston again. He's going to wrap around.
Toppin to Reeves. Ware climbs on the rim. He'll hang on for a moment to protect himself. And Jeffries. Reed off the mark. The tip in by Matthews. Well, he climbed the ladder.
What an effort play by Matthews. Want to be a great offensive rebounder? Put your camera down. Get in the picture. Don't take the picture.
Wallace. Short.
That looked like a little bit of a tired decision by Wallace.
Mentioned his minutes against Georgia and tonight in the first half. And Tolu Smith mad at himself for that pass.
It was the right idea. Every big guy, and when they're going to get doubled, needs to see two things: a cutter and a three-point shooter. And that time, Jeffries was actually cutting, just letting too far.
Chris Jans will make his way down the bench and make sure that Tolu Smith understands the nature of that last possession. Shaq Moore back on the floor.
Yeah, this is an interesting rotation because Collins is in now a little bit more offensive minded as a 5-man. But Tolu Smith is getting a breather. So the coaches, in terms of their rotations, are matching widths right now.
We like chess matches. I know you do. I like threes and dunks. Livingston, a deep three. On the way, and he connects.
Offensively minded now. He can heat up in a hurry.
37% from deep this year for 24 in blue. Lead back to 5. Kentucky now 6 of 12 from behind the three-point arc tonight. Matthews wide open. And a foul call. Position was established by Reed. And over the back went the Cats.
Well, this will be a challenge, block to block, trying to block out Mississippi State without Tshiebwe in the game. You're talking about a guy who gets more than 13 boards plus. Take another look. Reed had worked to the inside position.
It's a second foul. More open for a moment. And who wants it? Well, Livingston and Collins battled for it. It'll stay with the Bulldogs. And they'll talk about that sequence. I got it, no, you take it.
I just love the effort by Jones, though, the young freshman. Watch him give himself up. Be the first to the deck on a loose ball. You're usually rewarded. Watch 30 in white.
And a timeout on the floor. Now the Bulldogs will have it when we come back. 5-point advantage, the road team. 12:07 to go in Starkville. Chance tonight for the Cats on the road, currently listed among Joe Lunardi's first 4 out. Mississippi State, which has won 5 in a row, now on the right side of the bubble. Quad 2 chance tonight for the Bulldogs, trying to hold serve at home in a place where they haven't beaten Kentucky since way back in 2008. A lot on the line headed towards March.
Do you know who Mississippi State and Kentucky are rooting for in that list? Everybody's opponent. They want Carolina, Wisconsin, Oregon, Clemson, USC, New Mexico to all lose.
This is how it stands currently. And to Mark's point, the bubble, the net rankings, they're living, they're breathing. It changes not only based off of what your favorite team does, but what every team around your favorite team accomplishes or does not accomplish.
You know, you had mentioned that in the first half about the discussion with Chris Jans and the fact that he pays attention to it. I knew the Utah thing. I was almost embarrassed that I did not know the Akron.
All right, so explain that to our listeners.
So Akron is just outside of being a quad 2 win for Mississippi State. So for right now, Mississippi State, they want Akron to win every game. They want Utah to win every game.
That enhances the resume, and it's a big deal. What was a quad 1 win at that time may not be by Selection Sunday, depending on what that team does. So the quad wins and losses in all quadrants can change over the course of a season, sometimes drastically. A foul called on the floor.
One of the best ball fakes in the league is Shaq Moore. Even so much as the times that we've had him, we think he's passed up some shots.
His head coach agrees. He set down Shaq in front of the team. Shaq, you got to shoot it. You got to shoot it more. And he has. Coming up tomorrow night, Tennessee and Arkansas. From Fayetteville up first as part of our women's basketball doubleheader. That's at 7 Eastern. Ole Miss and LSU. Bayou Bengals ranked 5th in the country, trying to bounce back after a tough road loss, their first of the season at #1 South Carolina Sunday afternoon, 9 o'clock Eastern. That's tomorrow right here on SEC Network, also on the app. Did you see the ratings for South Carolina LSU Sunday? 1.6 million it topped out at. One of the highest rated women's basketball games on ESPN since 2010. In fact, the highest one, which certainly was fun to see and a fun game to watch.
As long as they stay healthy, can Carolina repeat?
Not only can they probably will. I think the bigger question is, can they run the table and finish the season undefeated? Out of the timeout, Bulldogs basketball trailing by 5. Cam Matthews quietly's had an incredible night, 7.6 boards, 5 assists.
I call that a Cam line. He does that all the time.
Also has a steal. Matthews on cue, lowers the shoulder, offensive foul that time. A ton of contact, Toppin hit the deck hard.
First of all, it was Collins who did a bang-up job on McNair to deny the entry pass. Toppin feet down, facing the offensive player.
Matthews checks out, that's his 3rd personal. Reed Jr. does as well.
That's a big loss, Roy, because they're not the same team defensively with Matthews on the bench.
So you have Tshiebwe with 3, Matthews with 3. Cats lead it by 5.
Let's go back to posting up Livingston.
How about outside to Livingston? Wallace able to corral the board. Collins inside. And the big fella with a chance for 3.
Wide open look from the left side for the young freshman, Livingston. It's not good, but watch the way Wallace is active as an offensive rebounder. Seeks out that batted around ball. And then Collins absorbs the contact with the and-one opportunity.
Foul was on Stevens. Collins shooting 61% at the strike. First miss at the line this evening. The Cats in the midst of a 12-2 run after trailing to start the second. Important possession now for MSU. Right off the shoe top of Sean Jones.
I thought Moore was the first to touch it, which would make it an over and back. Love the effort play by Livingston, but he almost turned a short turnover into a 50-50 ball.
Jones out, Jeffries in. When you feel Mississippi State hanging on here a little bit, right?
Yes. Momentum is all big blue right now.
Tshiebwe back on the floor as well.
Nobody's taking the ball out. Ron Gruber almost put the ball down. That 20-second on the shot clock came into play for the 2nd time in this game.
Tshiebwe back to work, blocked out of bounds, and that was Tolu Smith.
Boy, what a quick spin move by Tshiebwe offensively, but Smith recovers. He's beat on the play.
4 on the shot clock, Reeves to Wallace. Tshiebwe grabs a rebound in traffic.
Remember, almost 6 a game.
10 and 7 for Oscar. Wallace against the much larger Smith. Back iron, Smith taps it out. Cats get it back. Tshiebwe with the left hand. And free throws coming.
Wow, the ball sort of pinballed around. Finally ended up in Tshiebwe's hands.
Second personal on Stevenson in as many minutes. And Oscar at the line where he's 71% this year. Reigning National Player of the Year. put up some big numbers in games this year. Other matchups, maybe not as much, but still 15 and 13 the averages so far.
I think it's almost to the point where you take it for granted.
No question.
What he's been able to do. We haven't seen a lot of free throws tonight by either team.
Kentucky 5 of 7. Toppin's going to track down the board. The lead at 8. And this matches Cat's largest lead of the night. Bulldogs only one field goal made in the last 6+ minutes. Toppin, foul.
That is such good clock awareness by Toppin. I think the switches have really bothered Wallace in where he needs to go with the ball. Late in the possession, Toppin realizes that the clock is 3-2, drives to the rim.
Jacob Toppin, who had to get a cut 10-2 earlier in this half. Already at his average of 11 points, he's got 3 boards as well. 5 double-doubles this year for the Rhode Island transfer.
Yeah, this is an area I think Toppin should be better in. With 63% on the year.
Cameron Matthews back on the floor with the 3 fouls. Stevenson goes out.
Yeah, remember Matthews has been out. Mississippi State hasn't been as good on the glass.
Lead it. Oh. Tshiebwe makes it 11.
Just be active, pursue the rebound.
7-0 run the last 3 minutes. Kentucky seizing control. Smith double teamed. Get Tshiebwe. Good defense that time.
What a battle that was between the two bigs.
And now Tshiebwe becoming more active, more involved. Reeves gets past Davis. Awkward bounce to the big man and stolen. Ahead to Moore, who's tripped up. Basket will not count, no continuation.
Really a fortunate break for Kentucky because Moore was going to be out in front. I don't even think he had started his upward motion. That's what Chris Jans is arguing about with Ron Groover. Take another look. When does the trip occur? See, he hasn't gathered and started his upward motion yet.
I was trying to confirm the trip for a moment. 9 minutes to play. Davis off the fake, contested by Toppin, and not that time.
The length of Kentucky as perimeter players comes into play.
Now a 9-0 run.
And Mississippi State might need a timeout to try and regroup.
Toppin past Matthews, the floater, yes. And you mentioned it, Chris Jans sensing the same thing that you were, Coach. Now facing a 13-point deficit, and Big Blue starting to surge.
This is one of those shots that Kentucky practices all the time. The little baseline runner. You just don't expect it necessarily from a guy 6'9", but Toppin has a great mid-range game. And as a consequence, Kentucky has played really well here in the last 6 or 7 minutes to build the lead.
Toppin with 14, Reeves with 14, Tshiebwe now with 13, and 10 rebounds, of course, a double-double. The 3 fouls, it has not been a big factor up to this point. All right, if you're MSU, what's the sequence you want to see if you're Chris Jans? Obviously, you need points. How do they get them?
Back to Tolu. Again, you run your offense all season long through Tolu Smith, so he's got to get a touch here. Maybe you'll pick up a 4th foul on Tshiebwe. If I were Kentucky and Cal, with the lead, I'd be tempted with the media timeout around the corner. I'd be tempted to get a guy a breather here or there right now.
Bulldogs 0 for 6 from behind the 3-point arc in our second half after that 5 for 12 start.
But you called that. You did a marvelous job calling that early in the half.
The law of averages.
Right.
Maybe it's a baseball background where you start to look at the numbers and the metrics and you wonder, can it continue for Tolu Smith? It has to, and you mentioned the offense has to run through him.
Again, you see why. That's 6 for 7. Good things happen when Tolu gets touches.
What's the same theory you and I talked about on air the last time we had Mississippi State at Alabama right before this 5-game winning streak started? Shaq Moore was coming off the bench for the most part to start the season. What, shooting the ball at a high level, and we said on air, he's a better shooter than this.
Yes.
Chances are the back half of the schedule, that will show itself. And for Chris Jans, it has. Maybe not as much tonight in the second half. We will see. And Kentucky extending pressure.
And if you're Kentucky, Mississippi State is in the bonus, so you do not want to make any unnecessary fouls. Well, they're trying to get it in there, aren't they?
Smith beat the double team and was fouled. Toppin didn't like it, and he was the guilty party.
This is big boy hoops. The ball was going to Tolu. Both teams knew it was going to Smith. And he just did a little jump stop through the double. I think he kind of beat Toppin to the spot before Toppin could get there as the low man on the double.
It's an 11-0 run for the Cats, 18-2 over the last 8 minutes. And Smith, critical free throw. Now, free throws have been a bit of an issue, as Mississippi State fans understand. Tolu Smith at 54% this year. Good so far tonight. Made his first 2. And now his first 3.
Well, he looks in rhythm at the line tonight. We've seen him other games where he's looked way out of rhythm.
Yeah, you talked about his balance and where his feet were positioned. Times that's been an issue, not tonight.
1-3-1, half-court trap. And then settling into the 2-3.
Livingston open. And the rebound claimed by Jeffries. He had to jump high to get it.
Excellent ball movement, though.
DJ Jeffries step back 3. Matthews rips away the rebound, and Smith was hammered.
Matthews just out-muscled Toppin that time for the rebound.
56-45, Bulldogs have it. Trying to be the hang-around team at home. Network the place to be once again. Vanderbilt, which has won 4 straight on the road at LSU. That's up first at 7 Eastern from the PMAC. Ole Miss and Auburn, the Tigers off an impressive thumping of Mizzou last night. Back half of our doubleheader, that's up next at 9 Eastern next Wednesday on SEC Network, also on the app. Mark Wise, Roy Philpott here in Stark Vegas. The lead is 11. Talk to me about what's happening from three-point range.
In league play, this is what these two teams are averaging. Neither one shoot a lot of threes. Neither one make a lot of threes. Kentucky's the better three-point percentage team. And the numbers right now are almost exactly in that vein right there. Kentucky 6 of 15 for 40%. Mississippi State 5 of 19 for 26%.
Bulldogs 0 of 7 from deep in the second half. 1-1 for Tolu Smith after the foul by Wallace.
Well, this is what you want if you're Chris Jans. Free throw attempts made, free throw attempts, clock stopped. Slow down the visitors' momentum.
It's an 18-2 run, 1 of 2 at the line for Smith. That was his first miss tonight in 5 tries. And Jason Baker will pause the action. Appears to be an error of some kind near the scorer's table.
I'm not sure. I mean, it was the second shot. The shot clock went as it was supposed to. I'm thinking that's an inadvertent whistle.
Chris Jans loved it, whatever it was.
2-3. Better know where Reeves is.
Reeves about 28 feet from the rim right now, inching closer. Toppin triple team. Wallace wide open. And the rebound by Jeffries, the foul over the back, and Mississippi State in the 1-and-1. And that's the fourth on Oscar.
Take another look. It's on the weak side. I thought Wallace's three was going to be in. It was not. We were on that angle. And I just think Tshiebwe ends up in the wrong place. But you also, the way I don't know that you can fault Tshiebwe much there, but you've got to know the value to your team, and you can't take a chance on plays like that.
Tshiebwe to the bench. He's fouled out twice this year. Now with 4 personals and over 7 minutes to go. And now an earful from Coach Cal, and Pat Adams says, easy. Boy, Pat Adams walked all the way across the floor from near the free throw line over to the Kentucky bench area. Held up the stop sign.
It's getting pretty hot here in the bubble.
It does feel a lot like March, and a costly miss on the front end by Jeffries, who shoots at a 58% clip.
It's a big miss, though. Bonus opportunity. Remember, Mississippi State last in the league, just 58%.
Back in the zone.
I'd like to see them move Reeves around. They're trying to get the ball in the middle with Toppin.
And Davis called for the foul as Reeves tried to sneak around him. That's his third. Davis 7 points tonight. A couple of assists, those 3 fouls. Now Kentucky in the bonus. Reeves at the line at 84% this year. Antonio with 14 points, 1 rebound. Missed the front end as well.
Let's see if Mississippi State can take advantage.
Bulldogs trying to win their 6th game in a row. Cats trying to end a 2-game skid. Smith now against Collins. Double teamed and fouled.
There's just no reason to reach. That's an easy call. Toppin is trying to come from the low side for the double. Cal a little frustrated.
Will that drive you crazy
yes,
as a coach?
Yes.
Second on Collins, 4 in blue.
Watch the reach here late. Right there. Tried to anticipate the pass and deflect it, but.
And Smith 5 of 6 at the line. Bulldogs without a field goal in the last 7.5 minutes, but surviving at the stripe.
Well said. Good point.
A 13-point lead has been trimmed to 8. And a lot of time left.
2-2-1, a different look again with the 2 big forwards up front. This time back to man-to-man.
Shot clock under 10. Toppin against Matthews. Livingston's got to go. And a shot clock violation.
We've got to have better awareness.
11 turnovers for the Cats.
Way too many possessions and time to go in this game to even think about utilizing clock. Livingston should have been a catch and shoot guy there.
Five and a half minutes remaining at the hump.
See if the double comes.
There it is. Smith gets away from it. How about the spin? And the finish, the big man.
What double team?
John Calipari has seen enough. He'll call a timeout.
What I like about the Tolu Smith move here is how definitive he is. Watch as he sizes up, takes a look, and then just spins with confidence and aggression all the way to the rim. That's a move by a guy 6'11", 245.
That's the first made field goal for Mississippi State in over 8 minutes. And amazingly enough, in this game, trailing only by 6. And Tolu Smith, a big reason why. His production coming at the line as well, 6 of 7.
This is his 7th 20-plus game on the year. We talked about he's already had 7 double-doubles this season, 20 in his career. His biggest knock in his game has been his free throw shooting, just 54%. Mississippi State, 7-0 run, all by Tolu Smith.
Timer at 8, there's a steal. Deshaun Davis, up and in. 4-point game.
Wallace is going to be more assertive to run the offense. But the combination of Jeffries and Matthews defensively matched up with Wallace and Toppin. Outstanding.
Tshiebwe back on the floor with 4 fouls. Livingston the mid-range. There it is. How big was that?
I think Kentucky wants Chris Livingston to think offensively, and they'll live with everything else. Some of it good, some of it not.
Davis, a quick trigger. Yes! That's a 3! One possession game. And the first made triple of the second half comes at a crucial time for the Bulldogs.
Game on.
Reeves, the blow-by. Reeves, short. Tshiebwe with a bounce.
Those air balls are so difficult for a defense. The ball doesn't hit the rim, that disrupts the timing.
Well, you can tell Davis feels it. He was bumped. And free throws coming after this under 4 media timeout.
Down the stretch, we're coming. Both sides are kind of in the middle of the ring. And for Mississippi State with this late steal and the finish by Davis. State on a run at home, down 5.
Check out the Mayhem Moment brought to you by Allstate. End of the first half, and we will see how big of a shot this ends up being. But Cam Matthews, top of the key, making the deposit late night in Starkville. And you saw in the background, Coach Cal, the slam on the scorer's table. If you ain't a dog, the student section loves it, and rightfully so. We got a 5-point game. MSU getting set to shoot the 1-and-1. This has been a great atmosphere. To quote the young people of the day, it's been lit. The whiteout's been great. And for a team that's won 5 straight and on the verge of an NCAA tournament berth, perhaps, they're deserving of this.
Remember earlier in the broadcast, I told you there was there's going to be some math. Let's go back and revisit that, because in second chance points, Kentucky's up 8. In points off turnovers, Mississippi State's up 4. You do the math, Kentucky has a 4-point advantage, a 5-point advantage on the big board.
And the Bulldogs also in the double bonus, so 2 free throws for Davis at 76%.
Yeah, if you're Chris Jans, you're comfortable with Davis at the line or more at the line. Everybody else can be a little shaky.
But as a player with Smith at 6 for 7, he feels different tonight, right?
He certainly looks different.
Davis 1 of 2. Livingston the rebound.
Even after the miss, Mississippi State gets the 2-2-1 organized.
Wallace was bumped before the shot. And Davis just picked up his 4th.
Cal just gave a fist bump to Cason Wallace. I think that's what he wants. More north-south out of Wallace, more definitive movement with his dribble.
We had a great chance to talk with Cason Wallace, the talented freshman, this morning at Kentucky's shoot-around. 71% free throw shooter. He revealed to us he loves to four-wheel. I asked him, what's the most Texas thing about you? You grew up in Dallas. Tell me what's the most Dallas or Texas thing about you. Four-wheeling, man. That's what he said. He likes to get after it. He'll do some tricks.
He was glowing, talking about it.
He was pretty excited. We need some pictures next time. 2 of 2 at the line there. More importantly, 2 enormous free throws. Lead back to 6. Be careful, though, Cason, if you're out there and you're thinking about flipping around and doing some things. We want you to stay healthy.
I'm not sure Cal wants to know about this.
Jack Moore, the runner, and the response. Lead back to 4 under 3 to go.
I love the control that Moore played off with there. Took what the defense gave him.
Livingston against Moore in the block. Where did that come from?
Wow, what a play.
Moore against Wallace. Turns it over. And a foul called, and that's the 5th on Davis.
But that's a smart foul in terms of not allowing Kentucky to have easy points after the turnover.
Well, Deshaun Davis will exit with 13 points tonight, 2 dimes, and his presence will be missed, but an outstanding effort for number 10 in white, player that led the Pac-12 in assists a year ago at Oregon State.
And it just kind of gotten into the flow of this game here in the second half. Knocking down the 3, creating the turnover and the run out.
Reed comes in, Davis out. And out for the duration of this one tonight. Here's Chris Livingston, freshman out of Akron. Outstanding at the stripe.
This is the last bonus opportunity for either team in terms of the 1-and-1.
Boy, it's all about confidence. For some guys, you can tell they have it, and it's probably going in. For others, the exact opposite, and Livingston certainly has it. Perfect tonight, 3 for 3, and now 4 for 4.
And in double figures now for the 4th time this season.
Now credit Kentucky for weathering this latest Mississippi State storm. At least up to this point, under 2.5 to go.
Ball must go to Tolu.
And it does, quickly double team. Tshiebwe with 4 fouls. Smith, a crossover. No look, bounce pass to Matthews. How about that time?
Oh my goodness, what a find by Tolu Smith. As impressive an assist by a big man that you'll see all year.
Lob to Toppin, Jacob Toppin. .16 on the board for numeral 0 in blue, and a timeout called by Chris Jans.
Take another look at Tolu Smith operating on the offensive end. Watch this pass. Nifty little no-look pocket pass. Surprised everybody but Cam Matthews.
Now, today's Impact Player is brought to you by Huggies. It is Tolu Smith. 20 points, 6 of 7 at the line, the 5 boards, and he's got some more work to do. Get his team the dub here at home.
Roy, he's almost perfect from the field and from the free throw line.
3 blocks as well. Add that to the stat line. The Tolu line, shall we say. She referred to Cam's line. Cam Matthews, the Cam line. All right, Bulldogs basketball. You got a timeout to work with. You're trailing by 6. Minute 38, so there's plenty of time here, right, as a coach?
Yeah, you have plenty of time to, again, work your offense through Tolu Smith. With Davis being out, takes away a big 3-point threat for Mississippi State.
Shaq Moore, certainly one of those threats, still on the floor.
Jeffries lost a shoe.
It's only half on. Tolu Smith inside, does not matter.
Tshiebwe has to be careful, but right now Kentucky has no answer for Tolu Smith.
66-62. Tshiebwe with position. Outside to Wallace. Well short. Kicked out of bounds. Back to Kentucky, 13 to shoot.
Jeffries is still losing his shoe. It's a quick trigger that time by Wallace. Shot quality, shot selection, so important.
Both Mississippi State and Kentucky on the bubble as it stands currently. John Calipari with an earful for Pat Adams.
And Chris Jans is asking, why aren't you taking a look at this?
And they will. I thought it was Jeffries that kicked it out sort of last.
So why is he asking for that?
Get a chance to talk things over.
Free timeout.
Right. We'll take a look ourselves. You tell us.
That ball was deflected and was blocked, and so came up short. And then it's on this bounce there. There's the shoe. And then the other foot comes around, and that's off on Matthews. Now, on this out under, I'll tell you what Kentucky likes to do is lob the ball into Toppin on a solo, almost post, if you will, in a lob situation. He's got to make sure he not only is active in coming to meet the pass, but I hate it when a guy just kind of holds off the defender and holds his arm up. Watch and see if Jeffries can be disruptive here. He should have had it.
Reeves double team, lost the handle. 8 to shoot, stays with Kentucky. Under a minute to play, and these next 8 seconds critical for both sides.
Awkward inbound spot. Players, I think, are a little slipping a little bit on the floor.
Do you have plays ready to go from this odd angle?
You should, especially this late in the year. I would maybe look for Wallace to wrap around twice.
That floor will be dry by the time they're done. And Chris Livingston receiving instructions from his head coach across the floor. Big moment here.
Notice who's on the inbounder. Tolu Smith, 6'11".
Tshiebwe off the fake, the runner, no. And Smith, it's back to UK, only 2 seconds on the shot clock.
So you have 2 options here. One is a same side 3, a wraparound 3. Look for Reeves to run that, perhaps, or the lock.
Tshiebwe, deep 3.
No. I thought that looked good.
Oscar has only attempted one this year. Well short. And now Mississippi State has it with a chance to slice into this 4-point lead.
Take another look. Not a lot of options here. Tshiebwe attempts.
They're going to check the game clock and make sure that they have the right amount of time on it. All right, for Mississippi State, 2-possession game, 48 seconds. Do you need a 3?
No, you do not have to have a 3 right now. I would run offense, get your best look. If it happens to be a 3, so be it. And if you're Kentucky, you're willing to give up 2 here. But you must guard the arc. And then all 5 for Kentucky must crash the glass. No exception. If I'm Mississippi State, I think you've got to get the ball in Shaq Moore's hand and let him play downhill. The only other really 3-point threat, I mean, Eric Reed made one earlier. He's had a tough year shooting. Jeffries can make 3s.
49.6 seconds remain. Mississippi State has it. A bucket here. It's a 1-possession affair, and this place is going to lose its mind.
I love Kentucky going down the floor here. It'll just be token, but don't allow Mississippi State to roll the ball up the floor.
Here we go. High ball screen for Moore, contested mid-range, and he splashed it home right in front of Oscar.
Not only was it a quick look and a 2, but they've gone 2 for 1.
Bulldogs have made their last 7 field goals to get back in it. 9-second differential between the clocks. Who wants it? Wallace does. Outside to Reeves. In and out. Tracked down by Livingston and quickly fouled. Oh my goodness.
Chris Jans is livid that Wallace got away with a travel when he got feet in the paint. Take another look. Wallace late in the possession. Yeah, I think that's a travel.
Livingston at the line. Has not missed tonight. 5 for 5 after that make. And this is the big one. SEC now coming up as soon as we're done in Starkville, and something tells me we're nowhere close to being finished, and Chris Jans is not done with a mouthful and an earful given to this veteran officiating crew.
But what I like about Mississippi State, when they got down, they answered the bell and pushed Kentucky to the limit. Now, what your Chris Jans is doing now is kind of a what-if scenario. What if they make and it's a 2-possession game? Do you run it down quickly and try to get a quick deuce? Or if he misses, then here's what you're going to run to get a 3-point shot. And for Kentucky, the fouling conversation comes into play. And with 8.1, if I'm Kentucky and this game gets, let's say, 6 seconds or less at midcourt, I'm fouling.
Bulldogs have been pretty good in close games this year. This free throw is going to tell us a ton. Bulldogs out of timeouts, too, so that's a factor with 8.1 to go. Coach Calipari in search of that quad 1 victory. It is on the line right now. And Joe Lunardi tells us with a win here on the road, Kentucky back on the right side of the bubble as it stands here in mid-February with a lot of basketball left to be played. And Livingston makes it a 2-possession game.
Clutch by the freshman.
Reed's got to go. And was fouled by Reeves.
I think Cal is wondering, why did you foul? I think Reeves misjudged the score. They're up 4. There was no reason to foul. This helps Mississippi State.
Bulldogs out of timeouts. Eric Reed Jr. 67% at the line this year.
He's only been there 18 times.
And his first attempt of the night. Bulldogs in the double bonus. Clutch. 1-possession game, and now Reed can make it a 2-point affair.
Mississippi State make the free throw, complete denial, foul right away.
Reed got it. He answers the calling.
And by substituting Jones in the game, it allows Mississippi State to get organized defensively.
Here comes the pressure, 68-66. The game this has turned out to be. Tshiebwe has it and quickly fouled.
Is that having confidence in your big man at the line?
Well, he's 1 of 2 tonight, but 71% on the season. And a big moment here for the reigning National Player of the Year in Oscar Tshiebwe.
See, I think oddly enough, for Mississippi State, their best opportunity is if Tshiebwe were to miss the first and make the second, so they can inbound the ball and throw it up the floor quicker.
Out of timeouts as well, remember. That's key in what you just said. Bulldogs still alive.
If Tshiebwe misses this, this brings winning and losing into play for both teams in terms of one shot.
4.6 seconds remaining. Tshiebwe got it.
I'd foul again if I'm Kentucky.
Chris Chan's calling out the play. Jeffries will take his time. And now has it to half court, and Toppin fouls Matthews.
I like the play by Cal and Kentucky. I know the numbers say it's pretty much a 50-50 proposition, but I'm a foul guy. And you make that decision, Roy, in August.
Yeah.
You don't make it on February 15th with 3.8 to go.
Matthews at the line. First free throws of the game. 68% on the season. Rattles home the first.
Yeah, he's got to miss this one. See, I would keep Tolu Smith. I don't know why he's backing off. Now he's going back to the free throw line. This has got to be a miss and a tip out.
2-point game. Matthews, a high arcer, made it. 69-68.
Now it's almost got to be a steal.
Smith goes out. Sean Jones Jr. back on the floor. Kentucky with 1 timeout remaining. Tshiebwe gets it and is fouled quickly again.
That's a pretty big safety outlet, isn't it?
He was 1 for 2 his last time here.
Forget all the fancy X's and O's.
Lob it up to the big man.
Lob it up to Big O.
And Cameron Matthews just fouled out, so that's going to afford Chris Jans and John Calipari a chance to talk with their teams.
Roy, do you know how good the SEC tournament is going to be?
There's going to be surprises. There's going to be buzzer beaters. We know how good Alabama is as the #1 team in the country. But either one of these teams and a handful of others could be there at the end of the week as champions. It's got that kind of feel to it this year. Bama, by the way, lost its first conference game earlier tonight, if you missed it, at Tennessee.
So some people would say without a timeout, why not miss the second free throw? I've seen the 70-footer go in.
Oscar 2 for 4. Had a better rhythm and a bounce with that sequence.
Looked like he bent his knees a little bit further that time. Got his legs into the free throw.
Credit to 34 in blue as well for not fouling out after picking up that 4th foul really early in this second half. Even with a make, still a 1-possession game. He drilled it. Thiero checks in. Reeves goes out.
I think it's the same scenario. Foul again.
We'll see if Jeffries tries to throw it a little deeper. He will. Zips it. Moore has it, and a clean look for a moment. He lost it going up. Kentucky finds a way on the road. A quad 1 win for the Cats. 71-68 the final.
If you're a Kentucky fan, you just want to get in. That's the name of the game. Get in the NCAA tournament. This is a big step in that direction.
Kentucky 17-9 overall, 8-5 in the SEC. And Mississippi State's 5-game winning streak comes to a screeching halt here in Starkville. 71-68 the final. For Mark Wise, I'm Roy Philpott. What a night in the SEC. We send you now to the studio. It is SEC Now with the fellas. Gentlemen,